Yes, I'm there. I give thanks to life.
We are here again, Ballhead and Dre. Give thanks for everyone tuning in those times to know. Fire, what reason about?
To the reasoning about the concept of realism versus pessimism. I think oftentimes most people equate being realistic to being pessimistic, and it's not the same. It's just that there's certain information and certain things that and certain check that you have to really be checked on a reality level, and not because somebody check you on a reality level mean they're approaching it from a pessimistic angle or trying to put you down. I think that's where most people interpret it. So I think we have to decode it through a conversation, you know?
Yeah, and obviously people are pessimistic about stuff, right? Where everything is just negative, this and that. But I've noticed with modern times now, if you do acknowledge the reality of a situation, if it's not in a person's favor, they default and say you're being pessimistic. And I think that's what we need to stop. And I want to be clear. Some people are pessimistic. Fire. Anything that go on, they see it in a negative light. We acknowledge that, right? But if a person's not like that, even if they are like that, right, and they say something, you yourself have to be open, don't get defensive, and listen, right, and say, you know what, fire? It's a little truth there, you know, because that's the default. Because I think people do it because, one, they don't want to acknowledge the reality of the situation, or you're just being pessimistic, right? I'll give you an example now. You're trying to do something, right, and a person with experience now, keyword experience. I want to be clear, experience, right? They break it down and say, hey, most likely this is how this thing is going to work out. It's pretty realistic, right? The default now is to say that person's being pessimistic, they hating, they being bad mind. But like, it's a reality there. You know who's very good at reality, who has a gift? She probably don't, my mother, bro. She has some talent of like foreseeing the future on certain things, and sometimes you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And you got to step back and listen and say, yo, that makes sense. It's not being negative. It's just like a realistic from a different perspective.
I think it's a skill. Like you see, listening.
Yeah.
We don't really want to bypass that. The ears thing you mentioned. It's a skill.
Especially when you don't want to hear it.
When you don't want to hear it. It's a skill to listen something when you don't want to hear it. And then you have to realize that most of the times those gesticulation and non-verbal cues that we do, all of those things are noise to conversations. Yeah. So because of those are noise, especially to our ears. Yeah. So when we give off all of this attitude and certain different things, and the way that we interact with the information that's being given to us, it blocks certain type of sounds from coming through the ears. And that's a skill where you have to understand how to do it. And you have to grow into that and really accept it. And I think that's the level where most people haven't really reached as yet. It seems so difficult because, hey, should I be sitting here listening to this information when I know I don't want to hear what is being said to me? And that is where the disconnect usually takes place. And then the most important piece, I think, to the whole thing is, you mentioned it, somebody progressive saying it to you. So, and there's two parts to it too, because think about the information, reality coming from an unprogressive person versus a progressive person. There's a balance that you have to do. So when reality is coming from a progressive person, you're gonna listen to it more naturally. There's less noise to your ears because of the track record of what that person has done. Yep. So it might feel more at ease, but then when it's coming from a person who you deem as being less progressive as you,
keyword you deem,
and it's all in the mind, because that's really where it is, you know. And because remember again, you know, and I feel like the reason why so much things are mentioned economics, but most people, in their mind, the concept of progress is based on economics again. So when that reality is coming, and then it's coming from somebody who is not at that economic level as them, they're not trying to hear that, because why should you be telling me that? Are you making money?
Yeah.
So is that again where I think is like, it needs to be a skill where most people can block out certain noises, ease off of certain gesticulations and attitudes that we give, non-verbal cues that we give, and process all of these sounds and information coming to us. And then you will ultimately know if it makes sense, if it's something of a reality, or if it's something that's coming from a pessimistic level. Because why I make a distinction between the progressive and non-progressive, because if we're talking about pessimism, normally somebody who is progressive
Not really that pessimistic.
not really gonna give you something from a pessimistic level and be a downer, because that person have to have an ounce of faith that lead them towards getting towards that progress.
True.
But that person who is non-progressive towards you, are based off of your interpretation of progress, will have more room for pessimism, because you might interpret it that they're not at my level.
Yeah.
They don't like what I'm doing. They don't want to see me do this because there's no benefit to them. Different reasons. That's the reason why we break it up.
And also, Fire, that's why this listening thing is so important in discernment, right? Because they can have bad intentions and still be talking truth.
Yes.
So that's why you need to listen. Like obviously I listen for a living, right? So, but just, you need to listen to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing too with this pessimism versus reality. You have to accept reality. I think it's too much between social media fight. Like, people aren't accepting. There are some screwed up things in your life that are not going away.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to accept them. Like, it's so liberating to accepting the reality about the person you're dealing with, accepting the reality of situations, identifying situations we can modify and work towards changing, and understanding the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't spend enough time putting energy in stuff we actually can change, and we spend too much time fighting with stuff that's not changing. Or people who are not changing. And I think once you start to identify the difference and shift your energy, it'll be better for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people say a person behaves a certain way, right? I said, dishonest person. Like, why are we like, Fire, like, when I analyze somebody, right, the behavior don't shock me. I just consider myself a fool for continuing to deal with them. Because they showed me their behavior already. I'm not looking for nothing different. They've been very consistent in their behavior. I'm the one who's in denial about it.
Mm.
I'm the one who's not accepting reality about this person. I'm expecting the person to change, but let's look at the reality. Is the person even aware of the magnitude of the behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Is the person willing to change? Does the person have the capability to change? I don't know the person's environment, mental situation. I know this is how they conduct themselves. So I have to make a decision. Do I continue to deal with this person or I don't?
Yeah.
That's the only decision I should be making in energy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't control a person changing their behavior. That's how they conduct themselves.
And I find weird in the concept. Science is a very funny thing, and there's no perfect science. So when we think about the concept of reality and linking it back to pessimism, there's two different ways. Like we always think about statistics.
Yep.
When we talk about history or what that person's done in the past, there's no perfect science to any approach that they might take. If you think about science, the statistical angle of what that person's done in the past, that person still can change.
Facts.
And then if you think about the science of that faith, faith part of believing in a person or believing in a situation or what's being said, believing in what's being said, there's a level of faith. There's definitely no perfect science in that angle. So it's like, it really brings across the point of balance, where you as an individual have to understand what balance is. And then when we think about balance, isn't balance the definition of reality? Because reality is that things don't always work, but sometimes it can, sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't.
Yeah.
And that is reality. So if we understand what reality really is, knowing that reality is the now, where I am at, what has taken place from a statistical angle, the fate that I hope to see within the future, but based off what is taking place now. That now is the essence of reality. Yeah. What's taking place now, not just how you see it, not just how the person who is bringing out that information to you. So there's nothing no one is saying that this is the ultimate that a person is saying to you. And that's the reason why we mentioned that even if you don't like what's being said, you can still listen to it. Yeah. But then the interpretation or seeing reality as just pessimism, it just shows that there's a whole a lot of us are so self-conscious that we can't process things. Yeah. And because we're so self-conscious, we don't even understand the toxicity of our own mindset. And the toxicity of our mindset is what really bring we down.
And two, what I notice also, people think everyone's like out to get them.
That is it.
So I think that mind frame fuels how everything is said to you. Everything's an attack. And it's not
my haters, even people who don't deserve
it.
Even
know you, like anybody
pay you know.
So the thing is that people really have this childhood trauma, whatever you want to call it, but they have this idea that everyone's against them, everything is attack against them, no one loves them. And when you really break it down, they just projecting because they don't love themselves. And they're the ones attacking themselves 24/7. So they're not open to any type of critique about anything.
Yeah.
Because it's just a default and get defensive because they feel that, people are attacking them. Then you have those who criticize people all day, which we spoke about in the past. They're the worst ones because they spend their life critiquing people. And they think that because they do it, others are doing the same to them. That's just not the case. Projecting again. We spoke about discernment earlier, right? Being able to navigate things and, it's a skill. Someone say it's a spiritual gift. You want to go that route. But it's something you should definitely practice on a daily basis to really start reading people and picking up on things, because what's going to happen is that you're going to be exposed to some genuine game and you're going to miss out on it.
Miss it, yep.
And the universe has a tricky way of bringing people into your life to give you messages. And it's not going to be in no envelope. It's not going to be in no knock. It's not going to be no great event. It's going to be the simplest interaction and you're going to miss it.
That is the thing though. Like I feel like the concept of a sign, people say, show me a sign. Yeah. But when the sign come, most people don't even know when the sign come because they're looking for it. You see, the idea of, all right, it's the same idea and concept most people use and carry to the supermarket or carry to the market,
Go ahead.
When they look at a fruit, when they look at a fruit, they're looking for an idea of a fruit that's perfect towards what was already being sold to them and the concept of that fruit that was being sold to them. So when them see the fruit and it have the dirt on it, it just seems abnormal. No matter how you tell an individual or an individual might know that fruits or vegetables grow in true soil and they grow on a tree and it's outside and it will be dirty, most people still are not used to or accustomed to the concept of dirt being on the fruit or seeing that hole in the fruit or they think that doesn't mean it's spoiled. So you see that concept is what we carry over to our own life where it doesn't matter what the situation is, where we are currently, we block out all of this reality in the light of, okay, I am this ultimate divine and there's anything that I don't see or I don't agree with is wrong. Because automatically most people think that if they don't agree with something or their mind sway them away from it, it means that thing is wrong. And how do you know that thing is wrong? Who taught you that thing is wrong?
You know what, if you guys, I didn't put up the full reason, but check it out. It's there for members. Muda Baruka, we were talking about him being, I was telling him, how like he's hard to accept praise, right? So I said, Fire, I said, yo, many consider you a master teacher, right? But I would consider you a master student because I see the evolution of the mind frame. Like you're always reevaluating your thoughts, acknowledging how things have grown, right? And he was breaking down how you can't be a great teacher if you're not a great student. And everybody wants to be a teacher. No one wants to be a student.
I like you mentioned Muta too, because it give me I think it is a good segue to this too, where like Muta personality is a more coarse personality. Yeah. It's not a refined type of personality. No, it's just a reality. It's a coarse personality. Yeah. Most people, once a message or information is being shared with them, a reality is being shared with them, and it don't come off in that palatable, soft, organized way, time consuming way that they expect to receive it, it's automatically seems to become pessimism when it's not because it doesn't come off the way that you want to receive it. They block out every single thing. That's all of the points, all of the important pieces that you could even include or information that you include, that's blocked out. Oh, why are you bringing this information to me so rough? Why are you talking to me like that? Oh, can you just make it soft and palatable automatically? Oh, that means this person is just a downer. They're just negative. No, but that person could literally be giving you all of the information you need. But
life-changing information.
Life-changing information.
I hear that a lot, man. Because I play with sports, I've always had coaches. I don't know if you want to call it. I guess now it'd be considered verbal abuse. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway,
so they might call it.
So they call it. But like, they really like fight. They told you about yourself. So from younger people, my parents, so I grew up in that. So it don't feel no way. What I notice when people don't grow up around it, they're very sensitive to hearing realities about themselves. And I think that's where I kind of understand it because you're not used to it, but you have to get better because it limits your growth because you don't want to hear the things that you need to hear to improve.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my biggest concern about that. There's too much emphasis put on the messenger and the format, the way the message comes instead of the message. Now, I will say I'm privileged. I've always been around people who provided a very harsh message. So I've learned the skill of filtering through, right? Yeah, they said something crazy, right? But like, he's not really saying that. But fire, I need to get better at that thing. After I put all the excitement and all the beeps aside, you know what the man said, real, I need to get better at that. Or I do need to play harder. I do need to tighten up. But like, I'm coming from a sports background, right? So I'm not sure how you will receive that. Maybe their parents spoke to them in a way they didn't like and they never learned that skill. But you need to learn to like filter out what people are saying. Look past the tone.
May I give an example?
Look past the temperament and just listen.
Listen.
You don't have to respond. Because remember too, their presentation has nothing to do with you. Their presentation, whether the intention is good or bad, is fueled by what's going on in their life, what's going on in their mind. You may be the outlet for whatever, right? And just be aware of that. Not saying that is right or wrong, but we're talking about processing information. Listen to what they're saying. Go ahead.
In defense of majority of the people, I don't think they're at that level spiritually yet, like spiritually and one with themselves on that level. So I think not that it's not negative or bashing, but just generally speaking, you have to really be spiritually connected on a level. Like think about the way that's causing the generation gap, by the way. And like when old people give you that reality, because they're so coarse enough of the reality,
straight to the point. No shakes.
Then it's like it's harsh. It does seem harsh, and because it come off as so harsh, or they're so negative. Everything the thing you just want, like for example, may I go not old people, by the way. In case it's elder, more elder, you know. I got this radio interview, and the interview is in a bad area. A era, you know, gangster type of vibes and midnight type of vibes. And my mother-in-law said to me, she said, time, well, you can't do a different, them can't just give an interview some other time or something. And but regardless of what she was saying, and even might come off as, what kind of style that, you know?
It's genuine fear.
It's more of a genuine fear. And to me, with my spirituality and my concept and understanding of that and her approach, my understanding is that, hey, she concerned.
Yeah.
And as a concern, but a lot of people
come on. Fire, you know this man bring up a real thing, yo, because listen. Now listen. I know we don't have time, but check it. People struggle with processing their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, you remember you said earlier, that spiritual thing? That's why you need to develop that, because even though they're saying one thing,
you know what it mean
another.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be on a level to get that through. And it may sound away.
Weird,
But even the fact that they're telling you is a fact of concern.
Concern, yes.
But they just don't know how to articulate
that concern. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what you were saying, but it's repetition to get to that point, because you may look at it now like, what she just lady talking, but not understanding that's her way of just saying, man, I'm concerned for what you doing at nighttime. You know, that area over there hot.
Yeah. She not think about the fact that you're doing like, okay,
she ain't pre-ing that. Not pre-ing that. It's just a concern for your physical safety, because she knows what goes on in that area.
And there's no way that she could be a pessimist. She could be a pessimist towards your career, because why would she have something pessimistic about the direction of your career?
It's a spiritual maturity, it's an intellectual maturity, and also not thinking everyone's out to get you.
Exactly.
Some people probably are out to get you still. You know what I'm saying?
There will be one and two who slip through the cracks, but generally speaking,
it's not as much as you think. And some people just have like, the main thing though you have to understand is that you limit yourself so much when you have this approach where you think everyone's out to get you, everything is pessimistic, and it's like fire. It's just reality. All that I can recommend is listen, listen, and unlearn.
Yeah.
Unlearn. We spend too much time talking about learning. Fine, we need to unlearn
certain things. Yes,
we need to
man. No,
unlearn
facts.
certain things.
Just equally.
Yeah.
Equally, you have to unlearn as
You have
much
to
as you learn.
unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and listen. That's all I can say. Listen. Just listen. Let people talk.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you think it's a vibe, just let them talk and listen. And if it's nothing there, just go about your day.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something there, you take that and go about your day same way.
Mm-hmm.
Because people have so much going on. A lot of the things they say are not personal, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do have bad intentions, as we said, and you should be able to identify that. But a lot of times it's just people have so much going on and people really struggle with articulating the king's language.
Mm-hmm. Reality.